Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends, and joining me in the studio today is our little friend from Portsmouth.
Studio?
Yeah, well, it's studio, yeah, we call it a studio. Yeah, it's my little office, my office, at home. Kieran's come back for Christmas, isn't that nice?
Whoa.
Now we both went to football this weekend. I went to a far better game than Kieran did, didn't I?
I mean, I don't know. In terms of the game, it might have been.
I'm more goals at my game.
Yeah.
Kieran went and watched Liverpool play at Anfield. How about that?
For the first time ever.
For the first time ever. Went to see his hero lose, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're not, again, this isn't going to be a particularly long show, he says famously. We'll start with two fairly quick things, then we'll move on to Wycombe Wanderers, the game you went to, and I've got a couple of other little bits I want to talk about. We'll see how we get on. Okay, let's start with football on this day, and football on this day on the 10th of December. I realise it's not exactly on this day. 10th of December 1960 at St James's Park. Yes, we're going to discuss what happened with Newcastle. The St James's Park crowd of just 20,106 saw 9 different players score goals in Newcastle's 5-5 draw with West Ham United. Newcastle scored 86 league goals in that particular season, but conceded a club record of 109 and suffered relegation. Well, there's a few sort of similarities. One is the amount they're going to concede, and the fact they're going down. The other thing on football, so you can read everything. And when we come to your quiz, mate, you just keep your eyes off the football on this day, on the 13th of December 1998, with Christmas fast approaching. The halftime entertainment at the Premier League match between Aston Villa and Arsenal included. Now, I when I read the first bit of this, I thought it was really funny, but please, everybody, don't laugh because it gets very sad at the end. See, I'm already laughing. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. Included Santa parachuting down onto the Villa Park pitch, but the festive mood being enjoyed by the 40,000 Sunday evening crowd turned to tragedy when a gust of wind caused the RAF parachutist Nigel Rogoff to clip the edge of the Trinity Road stand, and he then fell some 80 feet onto the side of the pitch. His badly broken legs were treated by 2 surgeons who had been spectators at the match, and he went on to receive 177 pints of blood in a 3-month spell in hospital. But sadly, his injuries resulted in a leg being amputated in February 2016. Nigel was part of a team of 4 rowers who became the first amputees to row the Atlantic, all 3,000 miles of it.
It's probably what he had his leg amputated in 1998 and then did the rowing in 2016. You make it sound as if his injuries resulted in a leg amputation in 2016.
Oh, right. Sorry.
He wasn't in hospital for 18 years.
Yeah. Sorry, Nigel. So you can see why I might have started laughing at the beginning, and then as you slowly read it, you thought, whoops, I shouldn't laugh at that. But the idea of parachuting Santa into a football stadium, really. But anyway, so that's that. And now let's move on to how many managers are gone. Well, 23 now. 23 managers have left their jobs or been sacked, one or the other. we discussed one of the 4 from the last 2 weeks, last week, because it was the one I could remember. And here we go with the others. There's Richie Wellens from Doncaster. He got sacked on the 2nd of December. And I understand why. After 209 days, his winning rate was 23%. That's pretty shocking, isn't it? I mean, that is poor, actually. I think you could put any team out and they'd win 23%. I don't think you have to. I mean, that would suggest he can't manage anything, in all honesty.
Well, someone's got to lose.
Yeah, but not the same team every week.
He wins 1 every 4. And I'm not saying it was good, but
no,
it's not the worst I've ever seen.
And how about this one? This is really odd. This guy, he was sacked. Frankie McAvoy. Right. On the 6th of December, this last week, he got sacked from Preston North End after 266 days. His winning rate was 42%, and he was sacked.
They evidently has higher ambitions.
I mean, that's mad, isn't it? I think that's ridiculous.
I don't know how good their team is.
And straight away, they'd already got their claws on another manager, for Ryan Lowe, and we know him from Division 1. He was the Plymouth manager till the day after they sacked old Frankie, and so he was offered the job at Preston North End. And he was at he was at Plymouth for 921 days, but his winning rate was 50% this season.
Yeah.
But he's lost the last 3 games: Chiltern, Wigan, and Wycombe. So that put it down a little bit. But really, I mean, don't you think sacking one for a 42% and taking in one at a 50%, even though he just happened to have a decent start to the season, because they were starting to lose it, weren't they?
Yeah, which
they'd lost his last 3 games.
I mean, it's just the merry-go-round of managers, isn't it? You just try and find one that works for you.
I think poor old Frankie, I don't know, I would have thought a winning rate of 42% is higher than most. And he hadn't started losing it. They were doing all right, thank you. And I think that is absolutely balmy, if you don't mind me saying. I mean, it'd been there nearly 3 years. You'd think stability and the rest.
No,
where are they in the league?
Yeah.
900.
The other
oh, sorry, yeah, 266 days. Yeah, I mean, where are they in the league? Any idea? Have you got you've got something on you? Have a look where Preston North End are. I mean, I understand why Ryan Lowe would go there because he's moving up, but I just don't understand why.
I think Preston are a stable enough club in the Championship that they're in no danger of getting relegated.
No,
and they are 14th,
right,
and
mid-table.
It's a bit like we might as well go and see if someone else can do it,
right?
Because it doesn't look like
they're wanting to go up.
They're wanting to hit the playoffs, I reckon.
Right,
just outside it. I mean, there's a few teams above them, like Luton and Millwall and Huddersfield, that really they could well be above.
Seems like that just seems loopy to me.
In terms of staying in the league and being a stable club, then he does an absolute fine job. But evidently they're wanting to progress a bit higher.
Well, there we go then. So we've had 23 managers go, and I would think there won't be a lot of difference over the next couple of weeks. My guess is nobody else will go now until after Christmas. You? Do you reckon?
There's still 2 weeks of Christmas. I reckon they could still sack a few.
Right. Okay. Okay then. So now we're going on to Kieran's quiz time. Again, I'm afraid because we've been sorting Kieran out this weekend, he does need sorting out. I have to be honest. You should have seen his underwear drawer in Portsmouth. Shocking, absolutely shocking. But so we'll go straight onto the quiz, and we'll go do. There you go. Kieran's quiz time. Kieran.
I may not be able to fold sacks and points. Folds pants and socks, but I can answer football quiz questions.
Yes.
Got there eventually.
Premier League for your Liverpool questions. 1920. You shouldn't have a problem with this.
No.
How many goals did the leading goal scorer score in the league? Now, I can give you 3 answers that you can pick.
Is it
if
for
you wish.
Liverpool?
This is for Liverpool. Yeah, this is the Liverpool part.
Yeah, give me the answers.
Oh, really? Right. 17, 18 or 19?
Is it that low? 19.
It was 19, and we know who, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How many games were left when Liverpool won the league? I'll give you, if you want, you can ask for 3 choices.
I think it was 7 or 8. No. I mean 6. 6.
I'm sorry. It was 7. Liverpool clinched the title with a league record of 7 games to spare. Who was the first choice goalkeeper during the season?
Allison.
Yeah. And how many players were used in total during the season?
Give me the answers.
20, 22 or 24?
20 seems too little. 24.
It was 24. And how many league titles have Liverpool now won?
19.
19 it is. And that was the first part of your little quiz time. So now we go down there, back there, over there, and up there. Okay. Which squad? That's a great word, that one. Squad. Which squad number did Mario Balotelli wear for both City and Liverpool? Oh, no, another Liverpool question. You lucky.
45.
You're right. How do you know that?
Paper Liverpool.
How many Premier League titles did Steve Bruce win?
3.
You're right, 3. Did you know that?
No, I guess between 3 and 4.
Okay. Who are the 2 same Premier League teams that both Henning Berg and David May have played for?
Portsmouth and Bolton.
Completely and totally wrong. Blackburn Rovers and Manchester United.
No. I hadn't heard of either of them.
Who are the 2 same Premier League teams that both Michael Dewberry and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank have played for?
Chelsea. Leeds?
That is correct. And which squad number did Dwight York wear on his shirt at Manchester United?
18.
Close, 19. Damn it. And there we go. I can't keep a track of how many he got right.
7.
He got loads wrong this week. Absolutely loads. So how did everybody else get on? I do not know. You can tell me if you wish, but I'm really not fussed.
Unless you missed this bit because you skipped to the Wycombe bit.
Yeah, but they're very difficult to do that. Okay, let's get rid of that bit and move on. Wycombe Wanderers. Let's discuss the Wycombe Wanderers. Now you can see when you're off.
We can see
the bit. They don't want to. They want to see your lovely face, mate. Yeah.
There's a podcast. Supposed to listen to us, not look at our faces.
Right.
Unless they do just literally sit here and watch just intently, just like into the camera.
I think so. Yeah. It's all the girls come to look at you.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Wycombe Wanderers. Well, first of all, Barton. They played on Tuesday. Obviously, I didn't watch it. I was at work. We did win.
We did.
Played far better in the first half, so I'm told. Gave man of the match to the youngster who started. I was told he didn't deserve it.
No.
That he kept falling over on a regular basis.
Yeah, but was it falling over and winning free kicks or falling over?
I think he was just small, like no muscle. And so he couldn't stand on his own 2 feet. He was too, wimpy.
Do you want to have a chat with me?
Yeah, he needs a bit of muscle on there. A bit of fat, and then he can talk to me.
Farino.
Right, I think he might have been on the bench.
He
didn't come on though. So I don't know about whether we scraped that one or not. Really, I think it was 2-1, wasn't it? And they, from what I was told, they sort of got a bit better. Burton, but we got the point. So hey, great, terrific, wonderful. And just to mention, it's worth mentioning on the plus side. Paul does tell me he parked without having to have a second go to reverse into the car parking space.
Well done, Paul.
So we'd just like to say congratulations.
Congrats. That's really something.
He took 6 goes this Saturday. But he insisted the only time he's ever done it in 1 go was the time I wasn't there. And so I believe him, don't you?
I'm fairly sure I've seen him do it in 1.
Yeah. Well, you reckon he's done it more than once?
Actually, we should point out to people, this is a very difficult parking space to get into. It's not that...
It's shocking, actually. It is really tight. It is a fair comment to say that...
we're not having a go at the fact that Paul can't park. It is just a very tight space.
I think actually his parking skills are really good. I would put money on it that most people would either knock the wall down or scratch their car.
You know what? We should have recorded the time and then got Mum to do it. See who's quicker. You should do it.
Not with people around; they wouldn't stand a chance. It's all right. It's the opposition walking past. You can knock a few of them over. Yeah. Let's put it this way: when we go to the Boxing Day game and my wife is driving us there, I've got a car parking ticket for the Wycombe car park at the top rather than her parking in Robbie's drive.
It's all right. She doesn't watch this. So
it's not because of her parking skills, all right?
He was actually very good today in Portsmouth.
Yeah. She's a great driver.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the game then. Saturday's football match. Where to start?
Just in such an F1 mood, aren't we? They're just talking about driving.
Yeah.
Big up the staff.
Yeah. Let's start. Well, shocker giving that goal away in the first few minutes. That was a shocker. Was it in the first few minutes? Felt like it.
Yeah.
It was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. You notice who the team and who was missing, of course, in the midfield. I don't know whether that made any difference whatsoever.
Gabe, Weaver.
No, centre back.
Oh, Stewart.
Yeah. I don't know whether that made any difference because the gaps in there were massive. I mean, they were just stood on their own. And I don't understand that, because there are different types of football you can play. You can either play you have your space that you defend, or you have the player you defend. Well, number one, nobody was in that space, and number two, nobody was on the player. So I'd be fascinated to know who made a whopping error, which player it was that you can point a finger to. And in the end, when you say, oh, dreadful defence, some of them were probably doing the right thing. But I'd be fascinated to know who wasn't. Ainsworth knows, and the coaches know, and the player will know, but we won't. Somebody made a big whopper, because that's the space in there was shocking. Of course, then you close it down, which is great because you're 1-0 down and now chasing the game. Wycombe's passing skills were something to be unimpressed by. They weren't very good. Wycombe weren't very good in this game. Not great weather, not great. I mean, theirs weren't either. Wimbledon weren't very good either. But Wycombe weren't. And I'm afraid I have to say that I thought McCarthy and Grimmer, well, they were twins in their crossing skills. They had none. Nothing came from either of those that could count as a cross. I thought they were awful. And again, it's all right to putting Wycombe down. I don't like putting Wycombe down. I'm doing it now. We'll start with the bad stuff. I couldn't stand it hearing people boo again. I heard some boo them off at half time behind the goal, and that isn't what they need. I hope they don't watch this, otherwise I wouldn't put them down. The other one, Thompson. What is wrong with him? How many times was he caught on the ball? He got the ball, he'd have one player on him, two players on him, three players on him, four players on him, and he still kept his head down with the ball at his feet till he went over, or then he lost the ball and hacked them down for a free kick. That seemed to be not good enough. He is not good enough. I think they're the weak points. Grimmer, McCarthy and Thompson, I think, are the biggest weak points that Wycombe have got. Abita isn't brilliant, but I'd say we can ride him. But I'm afraid those three, no. And we were missing what's his face in the midfield. No.
Jake. Wheeler.
Well, one of those. Wheeler would have been helpful. Scowen. You need somebody who's a sort of a Henderson in there that does all the basics, just does the job and doesn't have to be the superstar.
Presses, tackles.
Yeah, somebody whose foot is always in there. And Wycombe had nobody in the midfield that seemed to control anything. When the ball went into the midfield, it went anywhere. And the passing out of the midfield was not great. And I think they missed him huge. Wheeler, I think, might have done the job as well. They usually use him as somebody to head the ball, don't they? Not to actually, I don't know what his passing with his feet talent is like.
I mean, you could probably see from the 2 goals as to the style of play we were using in that game to actually score the goals, or just from our general play. But yeah, it's slightly worrying because Wimbledon are a team that you realistically need to kind of beat in order to get promoted at home. A draw isn't the worst result in the world, but it's not ideal going into like a tricky period.
I have to be honest, I thought one of the main songs Wimbledon fans sang was Your Cheats, which I thought was quite funny, really, because if there were any cheating on the pitch, it was certainly coming from Wimbledon fans. Wimbledon players. There was one guy, number 10, can't remember his name, obviously, whose diving was something to be seen. He needs to go to drama school because he's not very good at it. If by any chance, any Wimbledon fans, tell him he needs to learn to dive better. He didn't do a very good job. You need to be near the Wycombe player to fall over. Will be helpful. You see, if you've actually got a 2-foot gap and then throwing yourself on the floor, it's not very convincing. Really isn't.
You need to take lessons from Rudiger.
Yeah, Rudiger, he's the one. Or Salah, yeah, where you put yourself in front and get the foot touch yours. But him, I mean, not a hope. Shocking, absolutely shocking. And then the Wimbledon fans thought they deserve a free kick. I mean, there was more space between him and the Wycombe players than there was between me and the football pitch. And I'm standing at the back behind the goal. So I thought he was dreadful at number 10. The wasting time. I mean, why are they thinking Wycombe were wasting time? I mean, their goalkeeper, I mean, he sat down and had a picnic when he got the ball, And the other thing worth mentioning was their goalkeeper, not one pass back to their goalkeeper. His kicking the football was something special. I don't know how many times he actually took a kick and knocked it out of the stadium or knocked it off the pitch straight away. Loads, absolutely loads. Every time he kicked the ball, it went out for a throw-in, except once where he kicked the ball forward and it went out for a corner. He sliced it and it went backwards. I mean, they can't play football with their goalkeeper. We can see why he obviously was one of these guys that, wanted to play football but couldn't, so they put him in goal.
And yeah, he's a professional.
He's a professional, yeah. He ain't going anywhere. I mean, it's the truth. He can't go up any leagues. He can only go down.
No.
Pluses, well,
the goal.
The goal, Akinfenwa's goal was. There was one other person in the football team I thought might have been able to score that, and that's the guy I can never remember his name.
Messi.
No, the centre forward. Vokes. I thought Vokes was about the only one that could pass the ball with his feet, but that goal Akinfenwa scored was a real. I've been around a while. I know what I'm doing. I'm calm, collected. I know what I'm doing. Confidence all over was that goal. It was brilliant and definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it.
That has been put on every social media account you can think of. So,
and that's his. You told me that was his first goal outside the 18-yard box
for Wycombe. In what, 5, 6 seasons?
Yeah. So that's a shame he doesn't do a few more, really. So Wycombe's goal was excellent. The penalty, I thought he got away with that one. I mean, it was a penalty. I'm not saying that it wasn't a penalty. I mean, the actual kick penalty. I think had the goalkeeper saved that, everybody would be saying that was a shocker because there was.
It was not anywhere near the corner or down the middle, was it? It was, just
and it wasn't belted particularly hard either, I didn't think.
No.
So, we'll take the point from that game. I thought Wimbledon deserved a point, and I thought Wycombe were lucky to get a point. Neither team deserved 3, that was for sure. So let's just brush that one away, forget that game, and move on. There was some next week. Who will we play next week? Did have it up there, but it's been hidden under all the other pieces of stuff.
We play Bolton.
Bolton
away.
Right.
I don't understand how they do the fixtures for like all the other teams in the Premier League, because all the Premier League teams have about 7 or 8 games this month, whereas we've had 4 or 5. I don't get how they do it.
Right.
But yeah, Bolton away. That's the last one before Christmas.
Right. Bolton away, last one before Christmas. Well, the interesting thing about Wycombe is that I told you was that Wycombe, of course, have played all the top 8 teams away. We've had all those games away, and I think we're the only team, well, obviously, that have had all our away difficult games. So we've got to put something together for the home games. We've got to get our win rate back of not losing home games, and we'll do all right. Other games in Division 1, I thought we had a few interesting results. Just one second, sorry, I've
Sunderland beat Plymouth.
Sunderland beating Plymouth. Well, with Mr. Manager gone, I think they've had it now. Wigan drew, so they didn't get any further away from us. I mean, Wycombe, although 4th, there's 3, the 2 above us have got the same amount of points, which is 42. And you always work on the theory. I always think if you on average 2 points a game, you're going up. And at the moment, there's only one. We're nearly there, but not quite. We'd have 2 points down. But that's right, because if we'd got 44 points, we'd be at the top.
Yeah.
And I think that's about right. But this is normally the period of time where we can drop points, isn't it? We get till Christmas, and then things start going upside down. But will they this year?
No, I don't see why we should drop off. I mean, last season we got better as the season went on. Something tells me that I think our squad depth is like good enough to stay afloat and keep on playing as we are. It's just whether we can keep up the consistency of winning 2 every 3 as opposed to 1 every 2, which is effectively what we're doing at the moment.
You see, Oxford are one of the teams that worry me, although they pick up a lot of draws as well as wins, but they don't lose hardly anything. I mean, looking down here, they lost. I mean, that was the FA Cup, so that one. The last time they lost a game was to Plymouth, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was 10 games ago. So they haven't lost a game for about 10 or 11 matches. We've had a few draws in there, about 4 draws in that lot, but they are picking up points every game. So Oxford worry me, I have to be honest. They're right on our tail, just 3 points below.
Plymouth are 4.
Yeah, Plymouth are gone. In my book, we've been saying that for weeks. We thought Plymouth, they weren't a big enough squad. That was a surprise where they sat, and it was always coming to an end. and now they've just lost the manager as well. They've lost the last 4, have they, as well? I think they've lost 4 on the trot, in fact. I think that's correct. No, not quite.
They've lost 4 of the last 6. And
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so they've lost 4 out of 5 and drew the other one with MK Dons. So I think they're not going to be a problem. I don't think Sheffield Wednesday are a particular problem either. On the other hand, they haven't lost one for a very long time. I'm wheeling this down. The last time they lost was to Oxford at the beginning of October. So Sheffield Wednesday, again, it's all draws. If some of these draws had been wins, we could be in trouble. We've got to keep it going. We cannot lose games, and it's as simple as that. Sunderland, again, they've upped it. Rotherham are sat there at the top, and they've won the last 3 and drawn 2. So Wycombe, we've won 3 and drawn 2 in the last 5 as well. So got to keep at least that up, otherwise we will start going down that table. We got to win 3 every 5 games and 2 draws. So what's that? 11 points in 5 games. So we can do with another win next time. The other interesting ones in there, MK Dons, I was worried about. Well, they've dropped a few down there, so not too fussed anymore. But Ipswich have had it, haven't they? This season, Ipswich are going nowhere. I mean, what they picked up 3, 4, 5, 6 points in 5 games. They're not a worry. Ipswich will not be a worry, except when we play them on the 29th, when we play them at Ipswich. We got Cambridge on Boxing Day. Cambridge are a winner. We can win that. They've only picked up 26 points. They're 16th. That is one of those. In fact, they're sat next to Wimbledon. But they're the teams we have got to beat. We can't. I mean, the way Wimbledon played was pretty dirty, but they're the games you've got to win. And Wycombe have got to turn up from when the whistle is blown at the beginning, because letting that goal in 5 minutes changed the game, and Wycombe ended up chasing it. And we're not good at that. I don't think we're good at that. I think we're fine going in at half-time 0-0. We're not good going in 1-0 down. That isn't our game, because it means that Wycombe end up with more of the ball than they do, and we know we don't win games like that. Okay, I think we'll give Division 1. I'm going to do a little bit more research into Division 1 for next time, actually, so we can have a bit more of a chat. I might sort of pick teams and look up individual teams and have something to say about them. I don't know how long we've been going, probably quite a while.
Probably half an hour or so. Okay,
before we get on to Liverpool and the other results, there is one thing I wanted to look up and say. This is I thought an interesting. I read this article, and I was a bit sorry. It's all my phones and things coming in. I read this article, and it sort of like explains a bit of our friend's background. Very quickly, this one. Joey Barton, we all remember him, Mr. Fleetwood manager, a bit of a entertaining guy. He's got a bit of a reputation. Well, you think he would be sort of a guy that's the black sheep of the family. Well, in fact, no, he was the goody in his family. Can you believe? He was the good guy. So if you look into Joey Barton's background, he's just written a book. This is why this is coming out. He's written a book called No Nonsense. And it's definitely, if you're into crime, it's a good book to have a read. Okay. It starts with him discussing that he had to put his marriage off because his best mate was in prison. A guy called Andy Tagger Taylor. He'd been sentenced to 7.5 years behind bars for killing a policeman. He didn't mean to. He just punched him too hard. And he wanted him to be best man, I think. So he put his wedding off till this guy came out. And he said, he writes, I was more capable of violence. My behaviour was occasionally psychotic. I was capable of serious stuff. This is Joey Barton, all right? And at the moment, of course, or what's just led to, he was on trial in Sheffield Crown Court just recently, and he was acquitted. This is for the punch-up down with another manager when they came off the football pitch. And how he got off with this, I do not know, because when you read what happened down that tunnel and the other manager came out with blood on his face where he'd been punched in the face, etc., there didn't seem to be anybody that actually saw him punching, but there were only the two of them in the tunnel. It was a bit like that. I mean, we know, don't we? But when he was, here's where it all started, all those many years ago. This is an example that he talks about. He gives an example of when he came home in tears, aged 10, after running into local bullies. And his father, Joseph Sr., handed him a baseball bat, pushed him back out of the door and gave him instructions to take on the whole gang and not think about running unless one pulled out a knife. So he sent him out to beat the whole gang up with a baseball bat, which he had a go at. And as you go down reading this book, there was the scene when he was 12, when his father sat him down to explain the best way to punch someone unconscious. He was taught by his dad how to do that. I mean, I don't know about you. Did I ever teach you how to knock somebody unconscious? The best way of doing it?
No, but you should have done.
Right, right. Well, as you read this, you start to see what he did when he joined these different football teams and how people didn't like him in these football teams, or what used to happen in the dressing rooms. And Barton's criminal proceedings began. Sorry, I won't go into all of this. It's definitely worth reading about how he sort of beat people up in the football teams that he managed, etc., etc. And of course, now he's the manager of. He's a manager, isn't he? He's still a manager of somebody. Who's he manager of? Lucky, is he not Bristol Rovers, is it? Because reading this book, you'd wonder why anybody.
He isn't. He is Bristol Rovers manager.
He isn't. He is. Well, good luck, all you players at Bristol Rovers. It's definitely worth reading this. The problem was Barton then of Newcastle, had just been remanded in prison because of a 5:30 a.m. fight outside of McDonald's that involved punching one man 20 times, as well as violently assaulting a teenager. I mean, you read that. What is he doing as a manager? A manager. I mean, it's hardly Klopp material, is it? Can you imagine? I mean, this book.
It's obviously his fault, to be fair,
but he's a manager, for goodness sake. Anyway, I thought I'd just sort of mention that because when I read this article, it just shocked me. Talk about football teams just employing anybody. How you can employ him, I do not know. It's shocking. And he's supposed to. And these football teams have got teenagers, and you got him sat there trying to coach them. Dreadful. What's he teaching them? How to punch people on a football pitch and knock them unconscious? I don't know. Anyway, there's that. And Kieran, it's all yours now to discuss the Liverpool game. In the Kop.
Is this a story time for me?
Please tell us your experience.
I went to Anfield. Once upon a time, I went to Anfield. So I've never been to Anfield before, and quite honestly, I didn't have a clue as to when I may well go to Anfield. But I had a message from my mate on Wednesday saying, I've managed to get 2 tickets. Do you want to come? And I'm like, of course I flipping do. So got up at 6 a.m. Saturday morning to leave the house at 7 to get to a service station at 9 for a coach to arrive an hour late. So we get to the ground for about 12:15, which is still quite early. Have some bevs in a pub with some Aston Villa fans who were booing Grealish the whole time as we were watching Man City versus Wolves.
Do you think that's a bit...
Which I thought was
shocking, isn't it?
Poor, because he's like their best player of the last, 15 years?
What did they expect him to do?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand.
That's why I didn't really understand it. And then they sang some rude songs about Liverpudlians in general, and the barman threatened to kick them out, which was fair, because it was quite rude. I'm just saying.
Would he have got any help?
There's a lot of Liverpool fans in there as well.
Okay, yeah.
There was some Liverpudlians who were shouting,
"Give Joey a ring," yeah.
Yeah, give Joey a ring. So yeah, and then we're stood up in the Kop, very near the back, but kind of what felt as if it was in the midst of all the main chanting and singing area. Singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" was an experience, to say the least. Like goosebumps just running up and down, just like, oh my word. People all around the stadium just singing this one song in as loud as they can. Just like, and from an atmosphere point of view, the place is incredible. The game itself, it was interesting to see Gerrard is quite similar to Klopp on the touchline. I don't know whether all managers are in general, and that may just be that, but he was very animated and he was very kind of shouty and pointy at his players, just barking out instructions the whole time. And he's evidently barked instructions for his goalkeeper to waste as much time as possible, because just like in the Wycombe game, he was an annoying goalkeeper who would just take his time with everything. I'm surprised he only got booked, really. But then in saying that, I think you think the ref is a lot worse when you're at a game as opposed to when you're watching it on TV. You get to see all the ins and outs of why things may have happened. And I don't think it was actually that bad. I mean, he got most of the decisions right when we watched Match of the Day later, as opposed to what
I think he got. I don't remember seeing.
He could have given us a penalty for the one on Robertson in the first half, but I mean that would have been a bit soft. The one for Ings wasn't a penalty, as Match of the Day cleared up.
And the one on Salah was
was.
Although Salah knew what he was doing, and he got it. Well, that's a professional.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. And I have to say, when I saw that on Match of the Day, also I thought, what's his name who gave it away? Mings. He's an England footballer. He should know better. That was pathetic. Sorry, Mings, but Mings. I thought that was awful. If you can't deal with that, then I think you're a bit of a wally. You need to go back to training. I thought that was, if he does that when he plays for England, I think, sorry, you're an idiot.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it was poor at that point, but for the rest of the game, they defended quite well. Salah sorted away the penalty very, very nicely. And then it was just a bit of a shaky 5-10 minutes in which Alisson just decided to lose all common sense or just any brain cells and come charging out his goal, and then he concedes a penalty, a goal, this, that, and the other. But it was a wonderful day for me. I actually got to see the win for once at Anfield. I think the thing that will stick with me was the roar from the crowd when Henderson made a tackle at the end. Like, I've never heard anything like it for something that wasn't a goal. It was probably louder than when people cheered for the goal. Like, honestly, it was amazing just seeing everyone just like burst out of their seat and cheer for this one moment, which was just a tackle on the halfway line. But yeah. I mean, what a day.
What a day.
What a moment. Yeah.
Well, better than my day then. Okay, quickly whizzing through the others then. City Wolves.
Striker was stupid. Lost on the game.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, stupid. Not sure it was a yellow card.
The first one, probably not. The second one
doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
The second one, it shows what an idiot you are. For goodness sake, what was that? Why was he doing? Sticking his boot out to stop the free. What was he doing?
I don't know what you expected to happen.
I mean, well, serves you right, Wolves. I'm sorry, serves you right. And in the dressing room, I mean, he had, when he walked off the pitch, he waved to the fans. Well, I think he should.
Wouldn't be happy.
No, I think he should pay them their ticket price. All that they travelled from Wolves to Manchester. I think he should pay them the ticket and the travel money myself, because he lost them the game. Arsenal. Oh, and also just to say that was Sterling's 100th, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good considering.
Yeah, he's had not a great season. No. Arsenal 3, Southampton 0. Well,
Aubameyang.
Yeah, won't worry about 3-0. I mean, Southampton are shocking at the moment. I don't know what's going wrong there, really. But yeah, Aubameyang.
Getting a tattoo instead.
That isn't what I read. Well, sort of. I read he was late coming back from holiday.
Maybe you got a tattoo on holiday.
I'm sure that's what it said, and I don't think it said he was.
I mean, either way, for your captain to just waltz back from holiday or back from wherever he was like that is just rubbish.
He was given permission to fly abroad for a personal matter. However, he returned later than agreed, leading to his exclusion from the squad. His late return had implications for Arsenal's COVID-19 protocols. And of course, this isn't the first time he's done it. Captain of a football team. Shocking. Oh, and just to say, Aston Villa are hit by COVID-19 outbreak. That's something that's in the headlines right now. That was updated 4 hours ago. So Liverpool, you want to watch it, mate? If that was Liverpool, they want to have a. And Manchester United's group training was disrupted by COVID-19 outbreak.
Do you reckon they'll ever get to a point
Tottenham.
do you reckon we'll ever get to a point where we can have COVID but not have to isolate? Don't know.
Not a doctor.
If I get a cold, I don't have to isolate.
Well, so
no, we're going to go political.
So no, Aston Villa, and I mean, would you catch it on a football pitch?
Probably not.
I mean, the only one that got close gave a penalty away, so he might have given it to Salah, mightn't he? Yeah, so that was he's an idiot, and if I was Arsenal, I'd have a serious look at getting rid of him. Because he doesn't do that team any favours, and they are improving, and they certainly don't need him.
No.
They're scoring goals without him, thank you, even when they are not the better team. Chelsea 3, Leeds 2. Felt really sorry for Leeds.
They just had a few idiots at the back who gave away stupid penalties.
Well, they're not idiots. They're Leeds, aren't they? I mean, you're talking about Chelsea versus Leeds. Chelsea should have whopped Leeds if you add up the teams and what they've got.
Leeds
didn't.
Leeds played well. But that doesn't mean that the penalty that wins Chelsea the game, where you just kick through the back of him when the ball's coming into that. I mean, that is a bit silly. Maybe he still just wasn't thinking straight and just did it out of subconsciousness, but
subconsciousness.
Yeah.
So, well, I do feel for them a bit, Leeds. I do feel for them a bit. I mean, they're not doing particularly great, are they?
No.
They've picked up a few points recently. They've had a couple of draws and a win and a loss out of the last 4. They lost the one previous to that. So, but I suppose as long as they're picking that up, that might be enough to pull them out of where they are, really. Norwich 0, Manchester United. You see, again with the Chelsea 3-2 and Norwich 0, United 1. I think that tells us more about Chelsea and Manchester United than it does about Leeds and Norwich. I just think
they're not quite as prolific as.
But they are winning.
Yeah.
But are they going to keep winning when they're managing just? Surely they're going to get tripped up.
Well, Chelsea have recently, United have recently. It's just Liverpool and City who haven't quite been tripped up in the same way recently. I think both are on 7 wins on the bounce.
Right.
Something like that. So it may well go down to City versus Liverpool again. I'd like to see Chelsea stick with it because it'll be
it's better, more interesting with 3. Yeah.
They do have a lot of injuries at the moment. Like no Kante, no Kovacic. There's a few other midfielders in there who are injured. Lukaku's been crap. So a few of their big players aren't pulling their weight a little bit.
Right, well, the Brighton-Tottenham game today was, of course, called off.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Burnley and West Ham, 0-0. Good, yeah. Well, West Ham, yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see Burnley lose and go down, but good for West Ham and good for teams in terms of catching West Ham.
But I noticed that Pope was the superstar of the game, which would suggest if your Burnley goalkeeper is the superstar, it would suggest West Ham were a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
I think. Just quickly looking at the stats on this. Mind you, expected goals was for Burnley 0.7 and for West Ham 0.8. So I don't know, maybe maybe it wasn't that brilliant. I don't know. Leicester 4, Newcastle 0. Well, I think our friend Mr. Manager at Newcastle is definitely going to play in the Championship next year, don't you?
I think the owners may have made a mistake. Well, they haven't, and they're playing the long game, but they obviously don't want to go down to the Championship, do they?
Well, I think they might. They might. I mean, Watford are 3 points better off only than Newcastle. Burnley above them, but played a game less because Newcastle got 10 points. Now, again, I always think if you've got a point a game, that tends to be going down. If you finish with how many games is it altogether? It's 38. I always think 38 points and you're down. 35 points and you go down. I haven't looked what it was like last year or the year before particularly, but Newcastle have only got 10 points out of 16 games. So looking at that, they're going to pick up 25 points.
To get even, they need to win the next 3.
So I really can't see them doing this. They've played 16 matches and won 1 game. I cannot. They've let in 34 goals. Just can't see it myself. I think they're down. But of course, the problem Leicester haven't been great, so to lose 4-0. 4-0. I mean, blimey. Yeah, I wonder if the owners have made a mistake. I don't know. It depends on what their lifespan is going to be. Working on the theory on 58 and the average person when the average person dies, I wonder if I'm going to actually ever see them win anything. Be interesting to see. Crystal Palace 3, Everton 1. Is our friend going to be the next manager in the Premier League to go?
Yeah, I don't think he will get sacked after this one just because he won the last 2 or the last one. He beat Arsenal.
He's only won 1 game in the league. Did he win an FA Cup game or something?
Recently, anyway.
Did he won it? What else did he won? I don't know.
But yeah, he's going to have to do something. You're looking at Newcastle.
Yeah. Which one are we talking about?
I thought you were talking about Rafa.
Oh, Rafa. Yes, of course. Sorry, I'm getting confused. It's easily done.
What, Rafa and Ezzy?
Yeah. Let's have a look. Well, how do they? Oh dear. He's not done very well, has he? I mean, look at this.
No, they won one of the last 10 or something.
They beat Norwich.
Oh, good.
Burnley. I mean, it was going fine until while they were playing friendlies, and then they got into the league, and oh dear, and now they're losing to everybody. They've got Chelsea next, and then Leicester, and then they have Burnley away on Boxing Day, and then Newcastle and Brighton. This surely has got. This is going to be it, isn't it? And then Norwich, mid-January, is going to answer every question, because dare he lose these? I mean, if you look at it, Chelsea. What do you reckon chances of beating Chelsea?
What, at the moment?
Yeah,
20%.
Then he's got Leicester, but then on Boxing Day he's got Burnley, followed by Newcastle, followed by Brighton, followed by Norwich.
I mean, if he's not even sacked before, though, he probably will be sacked before then.
He's got to win those, hasn't he? Got to. Norwich, Newcastle and Burnley, the bottom 3 he has before the middle of January. There's got to be points in there. Otherwise, he's definitely gone by mid-January. There is no question of that. Anything else you want to say? No, well, that took a while, didn't it?
I'm struggling.
So, Kieran, say goodbye then. We'll go with goodbye then, shall we? Got him staying with us for 3 weeks.
It's not like I haven't stayed there for 18 years prior to me.
Thought we got rid of you. Right, Kieran, say goodbye then.
Bye-bye.
And I'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next week.